वेदांतार्थ विभासकाय गुरवे शांताय सन्यासिने नानावादी नगेन्द्र संघपवये योगीन्द्र वन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्त दिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। ब्रह्माहं यत्प्रसादेन मयि विश्वं प्रकल्पितं श्रीमत्स्वयं प्रकाशाख्यं प्रणौमि जगतां गुरुं। यः परमात्मा जगत्सृष्ट्वा प्रविवेश पुनः स्वयं तं कृष्णं प्रत्यगात्मानं वन्दे गोपी मनोहरम्। यस्य प्रसादादहमद्वयात्मा विश्वं समस्तं मयि कल्पितं च तं सर्वलोकैकगुरुं सदाश्री स्वयं प्रकाशं गुरुमानतोऽस्मि। गुरूणां चरणाम्भोजं प्रणिपत्य निरन्तरं तत्कृपालेशतोऽद्वैत चिन्ताकौस्तुभमारभेयो। Now that few words have become clear to us, when we began by defining what is tat padartha and what is tvam padartha, because the word tat, I hope you know the difference between pada and padartha is clearly understood by all of us. Pada means the word and padartha means the object meant by the word. So when we are going to use these words, we have to be little careful. Because going further, this difference between pada and padartha is going to become a little significant. All right. For us presently, these are the two words, tat and tvam, which constitute the Mahavakyam. Comprehension of this Mahavakyam is what is called as Sakshatkara, realization, which is the cause of liberation, and therefore those who now seek liberation, for them, therefore that Vakyam is important, the sentence is important. Along with that, the words which constitute this sentence now have to become well comprehended, have to be properly understood. And hence the effort in bringing the definitions of the word tat and tvam. Okay. So now the word tat and the word tvam, we know have got vachartham and lakshartham. Okay. Vachartham and lakshartham. Vachartham meaning the meaning which immediately flashes in the mind no sooner the word is spoken is called as vachartham. It is immediate association of the meaning with that word. And lakshartham means on a little analysis, you will arrive at a meaning of the word which is slightly different or more than what was communicated just or what became comprehended or what became comprehensible to us when just spoken. So it is going to be little different than the vachartham. So this then which is not different than the vachartham is called as lakshat. And to put it a little simplistically, the spoken meaning, the immediate meaning, which now comes from the word tat, is mayopahitam chaitanyam. So now the padam is tat. The word is tat. From this word, we have an immediate meaning, which means mayopahita chaitanyam, consciousness conditioned by maya. Okay. The word remains tat, but on an analysis, we are going to discover the meaning of the word tat now is maya vinirmuktam chaitanyam. Okay. So it means consciousness free from the conditioning of maya. So vachartham is mayopahita chaitanyam and lakshartham is maya vinirmuktam chaitanyam. Okay. With the conditioning of maya and without the maya as the conditioning. What happens to that maya, etc., we will see. So explaining maya, it was the maya, the word maya was introduced. Conditioning, we understand what is conditioning. So the word maya was explained through an example of the Shukti Rajatam. And by showing the Shukti Rajatam, the teacher now further said, Tatha Chaitana Chaitana Yoho, or how do you say, Kayam Maya, Chaitane Achetanam Kalpitam, Yatha Shukti Rajatam. Like that what is Achetanam, we will keep the word Achetanam, okay? And this is the point where people are going to find that the word Sanskrit words are being used. But do not be afraid of that. We have to sooner or later get used to it. Because when you are going to work on something which is more advanced, you know, when you go to the doctor and you say, I have a pain in my leg, now the doctor will have his own language to understand exactly the spot where the pain is. So then he will say, well, in the leg means the entire leg or just the foot or somewhere else, some muscle, some bone. And then he will say, well, the point that you are showing is the metastasis, or you know, the prapadam, the forefoot, and so on and so forth. Now, when the doctors or the language of these people becomes technical, it is only for the sake of precision. So it is just not pain in the leg, but it is going to be in a particular spot and it will be indicated by that particular word. Like that, we are proceeding over here with more precision in our understanding. And therefore, now he says, what is Maya? Cheha chetane achetanam kalpitam. Something which is kalpitam, an appearance. In Loka Bhasha, in common parlance of the Sanskrit world, the word Maya again means an appearance. So, but over here, technically, we just simply cannot say an appearance. You will have to say what appears where, correct? By just saying an appearance, it wouldn't make any sense. And therefore, what do we have to say? What is it that appears and where does it appear? So, chetane achetanam kalpitam. It is an appearance in the chetana. What it means? Achetanam, that whatever is achetanam is an appearance in the chetana. So what is chetana? We have seen all these things. Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Satya, Paramananda, Nanda, Paramananda, Nanda, Dvayam. So that non-dual reality now is the consciousness existence is Chetana. What is Achetanam? Ajnanadi Jadajatam. Now this is technically what is beginning from ignorance, or the entire range of inert things, all that can be inert, is Achetanam. So now we are not simply going to say the table, the chair, the the curtains and carpet is all. This is Achetanam. Everything that is beginning from ignorance up to whatever is inert, whatever requires illumination from another source is Achetanam, which requires illumination from another source is Achetanam. At some point we will do this little more rigorous exercise. I'm not going to scare you. My intention is not to scare, but to tell you that how we work about to get this clarity about in definitions. So somewhere in a book, an extremely advanced book called as Advaita Siddhi, this question has been raised and presented in form of Purva Paksha and Siddhanta Paksha. The question is, what is Jadatvam? What do you mean by inertness? What do you mean by inertness? And over there, then the discussion proceeds. But now for our sake, this much is good enough. Ajnanadi Jadajatam is called as Achetanam. So what is this Ajnanam? What is this ignorance? So by ignorance we mean that what is Trigunatmakam, Sadasadbhyam, Anirvachaniyam, Bhavarupam, Jnana Nivartyam. Okay, all these, every word, dwell on every word of that which is provided. Then we said this Ajnanam, because this Ajnanam bifurcates into Maya and Avidya. This ignorance itself has got these two aspects, Maya and Avidya. Now, when can you say it is Maya? So basically, the premise is that this Ajnanam is Trigunatmakam. All the three gunas are present. Now, these three gunas have a very peculiar nature. They will bounce up and down Okay, they are in a constant state of flux, of change. How do they change? Where the tamo guna, rajo guna, sattva guna, all these things, one rises, the other sets down, and then the third one rises to put the second one down, and so on and so forth. And this is how they keep on uh, keep in this, they stay in the state of flux. So this is trigunatmakam, ajnanam. Now this ajnanam, whenever is sattva guna pradhanam, shuddha sattva pradhanam, where the sattva guna rises or stays predominant, is not influenced or subjugated by rajoguna and tamoguna, this aspect, when this is what the ignorance looks like, when it is sattva guna pradhanam, it is called as maya. And when the sattvam is going to be influenced by the rajoguna and tamoguna, that time the sattva becomes malinam, becomes as if soiled, stained, okay, contaminated. So where the sattva guna is influenced by the rajoguna and tamoguna, it will be called as malina sattvam. Okay, this malina sattvam is avidya, and shuddha sattvam is maya. Understand this much. This is the difference. Now, somebody is going to question that maya, how can maya be the aspect of ajnanam? It has got to be something different. Not only that you or somebody else in the congregation is saying, there have been people even in the history who have disagreed and parted their ways because this maya happens to be Ishvara's upadhi. How can that be from ajnanam? Because Ishvara is sarvajna, omniscient. Then how can this maya be the aspect, one of the faces of ignorance? Over here, understand that this ignorance which we have said is trigunatmakam, and the sattva guna has the function to know. Okay, it also can illumine, just as if there is a candle or a lamp, a burning lamp, kept under some cover, and if the cover happens to be that of glass, transparent glass, a clean glass, the light will pass through the clean glass unobstructed. So it will not be a major obstruction, unobstructed. So though jnanam, awareness, is the nature of Atma, yet with the conditioning of Maya, which is Shuddha Sattva Pradhana, it illumines everything. This illumination of everything, then we say, is what? Is omniscience of Ishvara. This is the omniscience of Ishvara. Avidya is malina sattva. So now this sattva guna, like this glass which we have as the cover of this candle, the chimney, if it is covered by the soot, the black which is emitted by the flame. Now, and it covers the chimney. So the light which comes through the chimney now becomes a little dim. And as much as is the layer of the soot sitting on the inner wall of the chimney, that much the light will keep on becoming dimmer. So exactly like that, the tamoguna and rajoguna, when sit on the sattva guna, now they obstruct, and therefore the illumination, the knowledge cannot be perfect and clear. So therefore, when we say that ajnanam has got, the Maya is also an aspect of ajnanam, there is no problem in saying that Ishvara is Mayopathika Chaitanyam and Ishvara has omniscience. Okay. So we make the position very clear. Ajnanam bifurcates as Maya and Avidya. Maya is Shuddha Sattva Pradhana and Avidya is Malina Sattva Pradhana. Okay. Now, having given you this explanation, the teacher, the author of the book, provides you with one more explanation of Maya Avidya. How does he do that? Look at it. Because, we have to understand Maya and Avidya by whichever is the method by which you understand, you are able to grasp, that method is best for you. Okay. So, Ajnanasya Shakti. He says, Athava, Ajna, you understand it as there are two powers, samarthyas in Ajnanam. What are these two powers of Ajnanam? Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Shakti means the capacity to produce an effect. When this capacity, any effect, wherever this capacity rests in any object, that object is the karanam, is the cause for that particular effect. Okay. For example, that when you say that the milk is the karanam, is the cause for yogurt, at this point, what has happened is that there is some capacity in the milk to turn, to become into the curd. If you are going to leave a pot of water, the water is not going to turn into curd. If you are going to leave a pot filled with cooked rice or just rice, it is not going to turn into the, what do they call it? The curds. When does it turn into, what turns into curd? The milk. So naturally, it means that milk alone has this capacity to become the curd. True? Milk alone has the capacity to become the curd. This capacity in the milk is called as the Shakti, and because of which now milk becomes the Karanam. Okay? So there is Shakti. This Ajnanam has Shakti. What Shakti is that? Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. What do you mean by Jnana Shakti? Now, just if I was to translate, or somebody has to translate, and if he says it is the power of knowledge and power of action, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, it becomes, that translation becomes so rudimentary. Therefore, Jnana Shakti means Rajastamobhyam anavibhutam sattvam. What is Jnana Shakti? It is that tamoguna which is not subjugated, suppressed by the rajoguna or tamoguna. When the capacity is not subjugated, the sattva guna is not subjugated by rajoguna and tamoguna, that sattva is then called as jnana shakti. That sattva alone is called as jnana shakti. And what is kriya shakti? So sattva is that guna which naturally rules the rajoguna and tamoguna. But when the rajoguna and tamoguna refuse to get controlled, dominated, suppressed, subjugated by the sattva guna, then such shakti, then that unsubjugated rajoguna and tamoguna are called as kriya shakti. Okay, this we have already seen up to this point, and to bring you back again, after 2 or 3 days of gap is to not only collect everything that we have done in the past 1 year, and then to come what we have already covered. Sattvena anavibhutam rajastamasi. What is kriya shakti? Sattvena anavibhutam rajastamasi. Rajastamasi is what? It is a dual case. Okay, rajastamasi. And therefore tamasi mein si jo hai wo dirgha hoga, it will be a long vowel. This kriya shakti further bifurcates as avarana shakti and vikshepa shakti. Okay, this kriya shakti bifurcates as avarana shakti and vikshepa shakti. Avarana shakti means the power or the capacity of concealment. Avaranam generally means like a veil, like a cover. So avarana shakti, the power of concealment. And vikshepa shakti means the power of projection, to bring something out is vikshepa shakti. To throw something out is vikshepa shakti. Then what happens with this is, what is avarana shakti? What is avarana shakti? Now you have to understand this whole thing in terms of gunas only. Okay, Rajasatvabhyam anavibhutam tamaha. So first of all, we have seen that kriya shakti has got one thing, and that is that rajoguna and tamoguna are not subjugated by sattvaguna. But where the tamoguna is not only not subjugated by sattvaguna, but it is also not subjugated by rajoguna also. This is the case. So over here, as if the tamoguna rules the roost. So where tamoguna is not subjugated by sattvaguna as well as rajoguna, that is called as avarana shakti. Okay, what is it called? Avarana shakti. What is vikshepa shakti? Where the rajoguna is not subjugated by sattvaguna or tamoguna, that is called as Vikshepa Shakti. Got the whole map in front of you? Have you got that whole map in front of you? Because you have to understand what is the interplay of the gunas. If this is understood, according to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. Now, gunair yona vichalyate, even that. So, he is going to tell you that there is this Jivan Mukta Purusha. There is this enlightened being. How is he? What is he in this? He, she, it, whatever you want to use. Huh? So how is this Jivan Mukta or the enlightened one? So he says he is able to see the interplay of the gunas. Who is a Jivan Mukta? Who sees the whole life and the circus around as only the interplay of the gunas. So which means it is only the gunas which are playing up and down. The Atma remains the illuminator of these gunas and their play. And therefore Atma, the self, is not involved. Is not involved anywhere. And that's why he remains untouched, uninfluenced. This is what is his understanding. So one has to understand the play of the gunas. What is Avarana Shakti? What is Avarana Shakti? Tamo guna, not subjugated by, means unsubjugated tamo guna. Unsubjugated tamo guna. What is it that can subjugate the tamo guna? Raja and Sattva. So where the tamo guna is unsubjugated by Raja and Tama, that is called as the power of concealment. What is called as the Kriya Shakti? Unsubjugated Rajoguna. What is it that can subjugate the Rajoguna? Sattva guna and Tamoguna. Where Tamoguna or Sattva guna do not subjugate the Rajoguna, it is called as Vikshepa Shakti. Okay. Now what happens is, we have to understand avidya and maya. Earlier also we have understood what is avidya and maya. In the first explanation provided, what is the definition of avidya? The definition is malina sattvam. What is avidya? Malina sattvam. Now coming over here, what is called as avidya? Avidya means avarana shakti pradhanam. That avarana shakti pradhanam ajnanam is called as avidya. What is called as maya before? Shuddha sattvam. Okay, Shuddha sattvam was called as maya. So in this particular explanation now, he says jnana shakti pradhanam maya. So in maya, avarana shakti is not there. Only kriya shakti is there. But this vikshepa shakti is there. But this vikshepa shakti remains under the control of sattva guna. It does not influence, and therefore avarana shakti pradhanam maya. And what is called, avarana shakti pradhanam avidya. And what is called as Maya? Vikshepa, jnana shakti pradhanam Maya. Okay. So now we have few meanings of Maya and avidya with two explanations. Okay. We have been provided two explanations and always keep them handy. Where are you going to use it? In understanding tat and tvam padas, the words tat and tvam. What is tat? Vachartham of tat is going to be mayopahita chaitanyam. What is called as avidya? What is called as what is the, not jiva, what is the lakshartha? Maya vinirmuktam chaitanyam. So what is the vachartha of tatpada? Mayopahita chaitanyam. Consciousness conditioned by Maya. What is Maya? You can understand Maya as Shuddha Sattvam, or you can understand Maya as Jnana Shakti Pradhanam. Okay? This, you have certain understanding about Maya, because both these definitions are going to help you understand. Okay? Understand. Now, if this much is good, now back to understanding of the Tat Padartha, which is called as Vachartha is Mayopahita Chaitanyam. And then also, what is Jiva? Avidyopahita Chaitanyam. Okay. If you're drawing a flow chart or something, just a map of it, the explanation of the second part, which was given to you, you can draw this. Ajnanam, shoot an arrow, let it bifurcate. Okay, as avidya and Maya. So in avidya, avarana shakti plus vikshepa shakti. What is Maya? Jnana shakti plus vikshepa shakti. Jnana shakti plus vikshepa shakti. Not that in avidya there is no jnana shakti, but it doesn't remain pradhanam. That is the whole thing. That is the problem. Avarana shakti is on the top, vikshepa shakti on number 2, and finally jnana shakti. In case of Ishvara, what has happened is that there is only jnana shakti. So if jnanam is there, nothing can remain concealed, nothing can remain hidden, because everything gets illumined, and therefore there is jnana shakti and only vikshepa shakti over here in Ishvara. So what are our definitions of Jiva and Ishvara? Tatpada means Ishvara, Tvam-pada means Jiva. So Tatpada is, the Vachartha is Mayopahita Chaitanyam, and Jiva is Avidyopahita Chaitanyam. Now, he says, understand, we are going to provide you some pakshas, meaning how it has been explained differently in different schools of non-dual Vedanta only, Advaita Vedanta only. How we explain that? We say, avidya pratibimbitam chaitanyam jivaha, avidyopahitam chaitanyam ishvaraha. Now look, this difference in the words is a big thing. Okay? Now be more alert and pay attention to this. Avidya pratibimbitam chaitanyam jivaha. Avidyopahitam chaitanyam Ishvaraha. What does it mean, sir? Look, there is this avidya, that ajnanam. You use the word ajnanam if that becomes easy. Okay? Ajnanam. What happens over there? Consciousness reflected. Consciousness reflected in this ajnanam is called as jiva. Okay? Like the sun getting reflected in the bucket of water. Actually, this analogy of sun and its reflection in the bucket has got its limitation. Okay, but we are simply, for what do we want to make you understand? Reflection, only the reflection part. Don't stretch the example. There is sun external sitting somewhere up above the bucket of water, and therefore now there is reflection of the sun possible in the bucket. We don't want to take it that, stretch it that much. All that we want to say is there is a sun and there is a reflection of the sun. Reflection of the sun, and that reflection is in the bucket, in the water. Now, what is Ishvara in this? So in this paksha, in this particular explanation, what is Jiva? Consciousness reflected in ignorance is called as Jiva. Then in this very paksha, in this very explanation, Ajnanopahitam Chaitanyam is called as Ishvara. Ishvara means consciousness, which has the conditioning of Ajnanam. Is now what Ajnanam are you talking about? This entire thing. Okay. Avidyopahitam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. But sir, over there, if there is only one Ajnanam, there is going to be, what is going to happen? There is going to be only one reflection, but we find that jivas are many. Not only that I am a jiva, but he, she, they all are jivas of past, present, and future. So you saying that there is one pratibimba, one only reflection of consciousness in avidya or ajnanam, how can that become acceptable? So this is eka jivavad. Where are we? In eka jivavad. This is a very, very important model for us to understand. Both Nana Jivavada, Eka Jivavada, both of these. Asmin Pakshe, in this particular explanation, how is the multiplicity of conscious beings explained? So he says, Jivastu Ekaha. Jiva though is one. Tasmin antakarana vishishtaha pramataraha kalpitaha. Now, like there is only one person in the sense the person who goes to sleep, and there is a dream in which he sees an army of men riding on horses with spears and swords and shields and everything. Okay. Now he sees many people. Now, amongst those men who are riding on the horses, there is everything. There is competition, there is friendship, there is affection, there is love, there is hatred, there is a jealousy. All sorts of things are happening in that army of people. But thing is, and each one of them has got his own mind. The person who is friendly with others, he has got his own mind. The person who is jealous has got his own reasons. The person with a little inferiority complex or a person with some superiority complex, they have their own minds. But ultimately, in the dream, it is only one mind in which many such people are now seen. Like that, though this jiva is one, in this jiva, in his dream, as if there is a multiplicity of people. This is the Nana Jivavad. Okay. So now we have an explanation about what is Ishvara. Avidya in the sense Ajnanopahitam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. First, what did we say? Mayopahitam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. Okay. But now in this Eka Jivavada, what is called as Ishvara? Ajnanopahitam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. Eka Jivavada, okay? And what is Jiva over here? Avidya Pratibimbitam Chaitanyam Jivaha. So, over here now, further, Nana Jivavada. Now, if this model of understanding is becoming a little difficult to grasp, we will provide you with yet another way of understanding and appreciating. And it is called as Nana Jivavada. Kechittu Nana Ajnanam Svikritya Vanavad Ajnana Samudaya Samashtihi Tad Upahitam Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. Vrikshavat Pratyekam Ajnanam Vyashtihi Tad Upahitam Chaitanyam Prajnaha. Okay. How in Nana Jivavada, what are we going to say? There is an acceptance of many ignorances. Why many ignorances? Because if you get enlightened and ignorance is destroyed, but sir, I continue. And that's why my ignorance is not destroyed. And therefore, there is a justification why they want to say that there are many ignorances. Your ignorance, my ignorance, her ignorance, his ignorance. There is multiplicity. Wherever the ignorance is destroyed, liberation takes place. Hey, in case of Shukadeva, Vamadeva, or such people, Yajnavalkya, the ignorance is destroyed and that's why they are mukta. But sir, we are not mukta yet, and that's why we have to, there is a reason why they say, let us accept that Nana Ajnanam, many ignorances. Now, when you are going to say many, which means 1 + 1 + 1 kind of thing, situation has come to us. Svikritya Vanavad Ajnana Samudaya Samashti, where all the ignorances are together, like Vanam, like a forest. Like a forest. Forest is one or many. Now, don't tell me that there are many forests all over the world. The forest means that it is one and consisting of many trees. So, Vanavad Ajnana Samudaya. Like when we say a forest, it means it is a collection of all the trees in that location. So, Vanavad, like a forest. ajnana samudaya samashti. This is what is called as samashti. All together, samashti, samastam, samashti. Tad upahitam chaitanyam ishvaraha. Now, consciousness conditioned by this samashti, by the totality, consciousness conditioned by the totality is called as Ishvara. Then what is Jiva? Vrikshavat pratyekam ajnanam vyashti. Every individual tree in the forest, which is a part of the forest, is that individual tree. Like the individual tree of that forest, every singular ignorance is called as vyashti. This is individual. Samashti means totality, and vyashti means individuality or individual. Tad upahitam chaitanyam prajnaha. Now what is jiva in this case? Is consciousness with the conditioning of vyashti is called as jiva. Consciousness with the conditioning of totality is Ishvara. Okay, that is what we have seen. In Nana Jivavada, this is the explanation. Samashti upahitam chaitanyam Ishvaraha. Vyashti upahitam chaitanyam jivaha. This is Nana Jivavada. Eka Jivavada, how does it give an explanation? Avidya pratibimbitam chaitanyam jivaha and or ajnana pratibimbitam chaitanyam jivaha and ajnanopahitam chaitanyam ishvaraha. Okay? Over here, we this bifurcation of the avarana shakti, vikshepa shakti is not there. All that is there is just ignorance, consciousness expressing like a reflection in this ignorance is called as jiva. What are you? I am nothing, just my own thoughts, my psychology is me. Now you saying this is what I am is like the I getting reflected in the psychology. So avidya pratibimbitam chaitanyam jivaha. And avidya means ajnana. And then ajnanopahitam chaitanyam ishvaraha. So this is the explanation from Eka Jivavada. In Nana Jivavada, again don't forget, samashti upahitam chaitanyam ishvaraha. Vyashti upahitam chaitanyam jivaha. Okay, that is what is said. Now we have yet one more explanation that is provided about what is Ishvara and what is Jiva. What is that Tat Padartha and what is Tvam Padartha? It will be given to us here, with one more explanation. I think this much is enough for now for us to keep in mind that Ajnanam bifurcates into avidya and maya in one model, where avidya means malina sattva pradhanam and maya means shuddha sattva pradhanam. Athava, otherwise understand it as there are these two powers in, or the capacities in the ajnanam, in the ignorance, One is the capacity called as the capacity of knowledge, Jnana Shakti. The other one is Kriya Shakti, of movement. The capacity of movement, of action, Kriya Shakti. This Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti, what are they? Where the Sattva Guna is not predominated by or remains unsubjugated by the Sattva Guna, by the Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna, such Sattva Guna is called as Jnana Shakti. What is called as Kriya Shakti? Where the Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna is not subjugated, controlled by the Sattva Guna, that is called as Kriya Shakti. This Kriya Shakti further bifurcates as Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Okay. Now, this is the whole background. A model that you have to understand is created over here for us. Now we are going to see a little more about what is Ishvara and how the Jiva is being explained. Okay, that let us see that when we meet tomorrow in the morning. Brahmaham yat prasadena Mayi Vishwam Prakalpitam Srimad Swayam Prakashakhyam Pranavmi Jagatang Guru Yah Paramatma Jagat Srishtva Pravivesha Punaswayam Tang Krishnam Pratyagatmanam Vande Gopi Manoharam Yasya Prasadadahamadvayatma Vishwam Samhastam Mayi Kalpitancha Tan Sarvalokaika Gurum Sadashri Swayam Prakasham Gurumanatosmi Gurunam Charanam Bhojam Pranipatya Nirantaram Tatkrupa Deshato Dvaita Chinta Kaustubhamarabhe Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakatau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Thank you all. Thank you very much.